Hey everybody, it's Terry from STS Decals. We're starting a new series of videos called Tip Tuesday. Since we make decals for a living, I guess the first one will be on applying decals. So what you will need, obviously, decals, a subject, a pair of scissors, tweezers, paintbrush, which we'll explain that later. These are paint brushes for your decal set and your decal saw. Set gives you some slip and slide and breaks the water tension. Saw helps melt them down if you need to, but normally with ours you don't have to do that. A thing to put your water in, lukewarm water, paper towels, and a regular towel. So now we'll turn the video over to Patrice and she'll give a demonstration on how to put the decals on.
So we are going to, first let's put the water in our little bowl over here. Like I said, this is lukewarm water. If you are in an area that, this is straight out of the faucet, if you're in the area that has a lot of minerals in your water and everything, you might want to try using distilled water because the minerals will actually stain your paint jobs if you don't get them all, all the excess water removed. I'm going to put just a little bit of Microset in my water. That helps break the water tension just a little bit. For paintbrushes, if you go to shows, I give you one of these whenever you buy stuff from us. But it's a very stiff paintbrush, and it's a very skinny paintbrush, and you can see how little it is. How skinny it is really helps you like tuck stuff down and to your seam lines and stuff like that. But I'll stir this up just a tick. Okay, now my scissors are overkill. Tim Brown said that these are murder scissors. Who was I going to kill with these things? Because they're so big, but I'm a crafter. These are the scissors I'm used to using. Okay, so you're going to cut your decal close, but you don't have to cut it exact. So like on this part right here, I'm just going to kind of like trim it around. You want round corners if you can instead of square corners. And you can see what we're doing here.
It's hard to see that white on that blue paper.
Yeah, that's okay. But we've got it trimmed. Okay. And then I'm going to trim this other piece really quick too. And round my corners. Okay. Now, what you do is you're going to run it in this warm water, and then you're going to put it on a paper towel face down, because like if I put this in here, see how it wants to curl up? It's a log. It wants to go back to being a log. Well, I don't want it to be a log. I want it to be flat. So if you put it face down on the paper towel, it helps relax it and makes it more flat. You can watch the water start absorbing into the backing, and when it's really absorbed, you can actually almost see the decal that's on the other side through the paper. And that means it's probably in pretty good shape. And then you can take and just see, is it slipping? Yeah, so this is slipping really nice and ready to go. So when we put it on our model, this is probably like a #1 trick that I'm going to show you doing this side. I'm actually going to work on this upside down, but I'm right-handed. So if I'm looking at this model like this, I have no problem going this way. But especially on like really long body lines and stuff like that, I have a hard time going the other way. So, but if you turn it upside down, you're still going to be pulling the same way that you're used to going. So I'm going to take my decal, and I'm going to take my little paintbrush, and you're going to take your water that has the Microset in it, and I'm going to put some here, and that just kind of gives it a little bit more juice. And then what you're going to do, decal and backing both go on the model. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it on there. And I'm going to pull the backing out from underneath the decal. If you try to do this in mid-air, remove the decal from the backing. The decals are thin and it's going to fold over your corners. So both backing and decal go on this. And then I'm going to use my paintbrush to sweep the water that's underneath the decal out from underneath the decal. And some people will use a Q-tip, some people use a paper towel. But what I find is you can see, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. You can see, I'm gonna blot the water moving out from underneath the decal. Because if you don't get all the water, oh, got a cat here. If you don't get all the water out from underneath the decal, what can happen is you might have some silvering and stuff like that, especially if you go to clear it. So you want to make sure you get, I'm gonna blot this again. So I'm really not using this to like pull on it and push on it. I think Q-tips a lot of times, because you don't have control of the pressure, like this thing right here is really flexible. It's really flexible, and you're not gonna pull or tear the decals because it's just a lot more forgiving. Hang on, Terry has a comment.
Shinier the paint job.
Oh, yeah. So, decals. Terry, we found out this early on, and I am not going to insult you by any means, but the smoother and slicker your paint job is, the more brighter your decals will be. If you think about mountains and valleys, okay, and if you have a paint job that you may think, wow, this is really slick, but then when you take a really close-up video, photo, or whatever, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not.
Orange peel.
Like an orange peel. It's really hard to even see with the naked eye. I mean, it's something that you see taking photos, up close photos. Light gets under the decal in the valley and takes away from how bright or opaque the decal looks. So if the smoother your paint job is, the brighter your decal is going to look when it's put on. Now, guys with that are doing military stuff have they use a matte finish on their cars and stuff. Matte, no matter what you do, has the mountains and valleys. So on those type of decals and stuff, you're going to need to spray a shiny clear and then put the decal on, and then matte clear over it. And that takes it back down to the matte, but it gives it where it's not a porous finish and gives you a brighter, visual decal that you're going to be looking at. Something else, rivets. And if you had, this is a die cast because it's going in a museum. It's going to, we didn't want to give them anything plastic that would break if it fell. But rivets, or if you need decals to wrap around where, like light fixtures and stuff like that, if you just take your thumb and if you put it underneath here to support your plastic or whatever, and take your thumb and push down and just hold it, our decals the film that we use is thin enough and flexible enough that just pushing down will make it conform to your rivets. If you need to use Microsol, I haven't used it on anything that we do. I use the Microset. I've never used the Microsol. It's just not needed for our stuff because the film is just so thin. If you
need to put another decal on before it dries up.
Which one? Oh yeah, shoot! I forgot there was another decal. Where's it at? Oh, sorry, I forgot to add another decal. Sorry, guys. This one is going to go here, so we're gonna paint and make sure I'm not folded under because I moved it a little bit too far. There we go. Looks good. And put this on. The reason also to put it on a paper towel instead of leaving it in the water, I think leaving it in the water too long, sometimes it'll float flat off your backing, which is not good. But I also think it messes with the glue that's on the back of the decal by soaking it too long. So that's another reason I just don't leave it in the water. Because you could dip it a couple times in the water to make sure it's loose, especially on your really big pieces like semi-sides and stuff like that. You're going to want to dip it probably 4 or 5 times over a period of probably 3 or 4 minutes to get it completely where it's released. Because if you tug on it when you're trying to get it off the backing, our decals have a little bit of elasticity to it and they'll stretch. If it happens to stretch, because we make them to a template, if it happens to stretch and they're like, oh my gosh, this thing's like 1/2 inch too long, just like put it on there and don't sweep the water out from underneath it yet, and it will relax back down to where it should be. And just because, like I said, it's just the tugging part of like doing really long. I did a impala. It stretched a little bit. I let it relax. It came back down to where it needed to be. And like I said, this right here would go inside your, see how nice it goes in your door jambs and stuff. So if you have something you need to tuck down, you can just tuck down. Now, if you are using our chromes or neons, it's a different process. It's a little bit more delicate, but it likes hot water. I'm not talking about boiling water, but it likes hot water. It releases a lot better from the hot water because it do not use Microsol on it. It will not happy with it. But you just use hot water and it will help it release better. So you're not tugging on it, because if you tug on these, they'll crack. It's just a very delicate process on the chromes and the neons. So, and I'll turn you back over to Terry.
And there you have it, folks. That's how we install decals. Well, that's how Patrice installs decals. I do it a little bit different, but that's okay. The Microset, the Microsol, we carry tweezers. We carry the Microset and the Microsol.
On our website.
On our website. Paintbrush, you can get them wherever.
Yeah.
And we also do customs. So anything you want, just give us a shout or a phone call or an email, and we'll take care of you. And we'll see you next Tuesday with another tip.